It's the holidays. People want to relax. Give us a little break.
We are gonna be in the parking lot, and if the GR sets foot on school property, we can arrest him for criminal trespass.
Why are you in my dream?
Don't tell them anything. Which one is the smart one?
You want this over? Then say it!
We're gonna need some gasoline.
Hello? Wayne?
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more Leftovers Season 1. We are on Episode 4. It is called BJ and the AC. And I do believe that means Baby Jesus and the Antichrist. We got two storylines going through here. Kevin dealing with missing baby Jesus and the guilty remnant, of course, and Tom trying to help protect this girl for Wayne, and things kind of getting worse and worse for him as he goes along and gets to a point of real desperation. It's got some really great moments. It's got some more heartbreak and real honesty in this episode. And we get this, the meeting of Kevin and Nora. To me, one of the best, one of the best television believable couples I've ever seen. But anyway, let's jump into this. So just like other times, I got this split up to cover it in a little more succinctly so I'm not jumping all over the place. So we're going to start with Tom because, like I've said in other reviews, Tom's story and Jill's pretty much go nowhere. It's unfortunate. This show has very few flaws to me because it's not the actor's fault at all. Everybody does an amazing job, but if like when people talk about like Damon Lindelof and them like not really knowing what to do, sometimes that's the case, I believe, with Tom's story. Now, not to say that there isn't some sort of like real resolution. It's just where you think it's headed, it really never pans out. So like there is no like Antichrist. This whole thing with the babies, and like I said, spoilers, all right? I just don't want anybody to like be going, oh my God, like what happened? I'm just warning you right now. It really doesn't go anywhere, and it's kind of like I would say it's just kind of pointless, but there is like really interesting moments, especially what happens later in this episode. So Tom, he's been out for 6 fucking weeks with this girl. A lot of time has gone by. In the beginning of the episode, we see the time going by from when they set up the manger and the nativity scene. But he's been on the road for 6 fucking weeks with this girl, hiding her from people that want her. Who that would be, I don't know. I mean, the ATF, to me, just wanted to break up Wayne's party, his little weird, whatever he's got going on. And Wayne, though, still hasn't called. And they're in this, like, kind of bus depot where this guy who's naked below the waist, like, he just comes walking into the room where all these people are sitting. Got to give it up to anybody who can do full frontal because it's not very flattering. But he's going off about, I saw you in my dreams, what's going on. He's getting grabby. And there's a very awkward fight scene here where it's like, can you imagine having to fight a naked man? Basically a naked man. It's because of things she's been saying. And Tom doesn't know what she's been saying to people. It's kind of going against, every time he turns his back, this girl's off blabbing to somebody about whatever. And maybe you can say that that's, she's lonely or whatever, but I mean, when you're trying not to get caught for whatever reason, I don't really know what law they're breaking, but I don't think they really are. Again, this is all just going on the faith and you know, all-powerful Wayne Hugmeister galore. So he runs into this guy who's got, like, they have to go to the hospital after this because after rolling around, she's got a really good bruise on her stomach from this guy. And he sees one of these guys that's part of another, like, movement where they got, like, this bullseye on their forehead drawn in. And he says, you know, you want a bullseye so that the creator can find you. Also, she doesn't remember what she said to the crazy guy to make him all weird. She's like, it was in his dreams, but it's like, you were talking to him. How does she not know? Again, just kind of like, I don't know, man. It's kind of a useless storyline because, again, knowing there really is no payoff to any of this. But maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Maybe there is some major payoff, but I remember it the way I remember it is like season 2 rolls around and Tom's helping his dad. But he says, like, from now on, keep your fucking mouth shut, because he doesn't, he's questioning why he's even doing this. No phone calls, just alone with this pregnant girl who's, she's not stupid, she's young, naive, and in love with a cult. And so, yeah, so they go to the hospital, and of course the lady's looking at her bruises, and she's pregnant, and she's had no prenatal care, and he can't tell him, well, we were part of a cult, and the ATF came, and we had to run away, and I've been keeping her protected for 6 weeks. He can't tell her that, so he tells her, you don't know I'm a friend, blah, 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 somebody else was trying to hurt her, I stopped him, of course there's no guy there, they didn't call the cops because he can't call the cops, and so yeah, he looks like, just another guy who beats his girlfriend. And so, yeah, you busted, man. You busted. And I just wrote down, fuck this crazy situation, Tom, and leave. Just leave. You can go home. And I'm still, not sure why. I mean, he talks about how his father abandoned him, but I know he's not talking about Kevin. I think he's talking about his biological father. So the cops and security are kind of after him, and he's got to he wants to leave at this point, which to me is the best idea, So he's at the bus stop, and a couple of guilty remnant are there, and they hand him a pamphlet, and I love this pamphlet. I really, really love this pamphlet because it's just everything that's important about you is in this pamphlet. He opens it up, and it's nothing. You're not important. And again, just the guilty remnant really are pieces of work, and especially in this episode, but we're going to get to that. So he's yelling at the phone, basically, if you don't ring right now, I'm done. This is over. I'm getting on this bus and I'm leaving that girl in the hospital and I'm going home. And of course the phone rings. And before you go on thinking, oh, it's a sign, it turns out to be a message from the departure services that's saying, hey, if you need to find someone and blah, have you lost someone? And so he kind of takes it as a message from Wayne that have you lost someone, making it the girl, and he takes it that that's what it means, and maybe it is, but it's just, I don't buy it. I think the phone, maybe Wayne is playing a recorded message, but it means that he's following him, or somebody is, if in this scenario, because then the other option is that Wayne's psychically knows everything that's going on, and I don't buy that either. But he goes back, and he sneaks back into the hospital by putting one of those bullseyes on his forehead, takes off his shoes so that he can look just like them. The bullseye is basically like a camouflage. Nobody wants to deal with people like them. When there's a cop in the elevator, all he just basically says is gives them kind of the same speech of the system and blah, 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 So the cop just leaves him alone. And so he gets to her and tells her to get rid of his shoes, draws a bullseye in her forehead, and they bounce. And they get on a bus, and again, he falls asleep. He wakes up, and there she is talking to somebody already, just blah, 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 blah. So he goes to, find out what's going on with her, and the bus abruptly stops. And that's when we find out what's going on in the road. The first time I saw this scene, before I realized what was going on, I was like, what the actual fuck? And just if you guys haven't seen this, here's what he found in the road.
Careful there, Tommy. Some sad idiot paid a fucking fortune just to bury that thing. So that's basically like, I'm like, okay, they're all dressed as Guilty Remnant, or at least they're all in white like the Guilty Remnant, and they're all like really expensive looking mannequins that are supposed to look like people that died. And at first I was like, maybe they're getting buried, like maybe these are like something that people ordered for the people that were departed. And I think maybe that's what it is too. I can't remember if the Guilty Remnant paid to have this done or what, but they're replicas of everybody that departed. But this one like flew off the truck veered off and threw the mannequins all over the road. And it makes you go, what is going on? Because we haven't gotten into the main, the other part of this story. So there's just like this whole road full of just what looks like dead bodies, and it's really, really creepy. And it just leads you to, that's where we leave off with Tom, is there in the road with a bunch of bodies. And that leads us back to, I have so many notes. That brings us back to Kevin's story, the start of the actual episode, where we see baby dolls being made. And how, somebody buys one, and wraps it up in things in like a little blanket and puts it out there for the nativity scene. And I just love, these little dolls that sell. Girls, the teach little girls to, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead on that one, but basically this episode is the mystery of the missing savior. Everybody's making a big deal about this missing baby Jesus, but I love how it all turns out. And so he takes it on himself to do this. And he has this sit-down conversation with Patty from the Guilty Remnant. And he goes through this he's asking her for a favor. And I love that when she smiles at him, it's kind of like, this ought to be good. And again, Ann Dowd doing so much with no words is unbelievable. And he just basically give us a break, okay? We just want to have this one thing, all right? After everything else, families want to get together at this time of year. It's just all that, But she writes down there is no family, and then shows him a picture of Lori, and it's just like, what the fuck does that mean? But it turns out that they call this a briar patch, where this is all a setup. He's trying to bait her into going to something, kind of like when you tell somebody no, or a teenager, you can't do that. And what do? They want to do that. And so it's all basically a trick to get them in a place where they can just haul them all away. Just arrest everybody and let
them stew for a while. But Kevin is trying to find Tommy. Tommy's still not answering, and now his phone's out of service. Now we know what's going on, but Kevin doesn't. And he starts fishing for Tommy's location from Jill because, you know, maybe she knows where he is, but, you know, Jill, she's just as practically detached as Tommy is. In fact, if she had somewhere to go, she probably would bail. But when it comes to when the conversation changes over to the baby Jesus being missing, he says, well, we're just going to get a new one. And she gets all defensive about it. Like, you can't get a new one. That's cheating. You know, it's sacrilegious and all that. And what the hell's going on? I just switched over. Okay, whatever. I like looking at Carrie Coon. And so, you know, you automatically, he's just like, oh, did you take it? Because why else would she care? You know what I mean? She's getting very, you know, like not liking that her dad's already onto her. You know, he's a good cop, and she's just a dumb teenager. And, you know, he's trying to tell his guys, all the guys, the deputies, the plan. Like where they need to be, how this needs to go down with the guilty remnant. And the mayor steps in and tells him that he needs to get this baby Jesus thing finished because he needs a win. Now, again, now he's got the mayor telling him that people are asking questions about the baby Jesus, and it's like, it's the last thing, you know, that he wants to deal with. He wants the guilty remnant. He doesn't want to care about this thing. But we're going to find Jesus episode. So it's kind of funny that he's spending all this time trying to find Jesus. But just then, his car loses power. And we don't know why. It just dies. And again, it's kind of not explained. But then we get Kevin chasing down the two twins. I call them the two DJ Jazzy Trevors, who are having a little rap battle in their car. They get pulled over by him, and he wants to know where the doll is. He's like, I know where, you hang out with my daughter. I know she's involved in all this. Which one of you is the smart one? Because they don't want to talk. He's just like, return the baby. It's all good. I understand. Just return the damn thing, and we'll just go on about our lives. Which leads to when they meet up with Jill, they're like, he knows you did it. And she's like, well, did you tell me? I just like their look. They're like, no, but he knows you did it. Like, he's just like, they could just tell that her dad has got her number. You know, she's not pulling it off really well. And we get, like, some disrespectfulness, I guess, if you want to call it, to a representation of Jesus, because one of the guys teabags the doll, and Jill comes up with the idea to set it off on a raft and give it like a Viking funeral where they take like a Nerf bow and arrow soaked in gasoline to shoot it. But, you know, she's really good at coming up with these rebellious ideas, but she has no follow through. Because in the end, she's just angry and abandoned and wants attention and is upset about everything. She has no say in anything. And what's the point of all this? I mean, I get where Jill's coming from, but also she knows she can't do it. She's not a bad person. She's just hurting like everyone else. And she just lashes out and takes it out on her dad because he's not being honest with her. He can't ever tell her, like, what's going on with him and her mother because he's still holding on to some, you know, fantasy that they're going to get back together. And, like, the guilty remnant's kind of trying to do, like, when she says there is no family, it's time to move on. But Kevin won't give up. It's one of the things that makes him a good character is he just, you know, almost to a fault. But Meg and Lori then show up and ambush Kevin with divorce papers. I love this scene. I was going to put it in, but I couldn't find one that was like the whole thing where he's just like fucking going off on her. Because this is just another kick to the nuts that Kevin just doesn't need. And, you know, Liv Tyler's Meg telling her, you know, reading for her, you know, you were a good husband, probably the best, maybe the best. I was broken. I think I need to stay broken. Just real, like, down shit. Like, I mean, this makes me wonder, like, this must be how I sound when I get into one of my depressive moods where I'm just like, I just want to stay broken. But he snaps, and he's like, if you want this over, you fucking say it. Not her,
This is important. This is an end, and if you can't even say it to me because of this belief system that you've fallen in for. And Jill walks in and hears him yelling and swearing at her mother. And even though she's the one who left, she sees that as just another thing that her dad is like pushing the family more apart with his anger, I guess. She gives Lori a present. It's a Zippo lighter that says "Don't forget me," and Lori throws it into the gutter. And I love the look on Meg's face, because you can't tell if she's like in awe of the commitment that Lori has, or if she's horrified that she just is so into this thing that she just doesn't care about her kids or anything anymore. She just cares about this. And maybe it's column A, column B situation, but it's messed up. And then Kevin wakes up the next morning, and he's in Tommy's room, and he's looking around at all the pictures and things that are left out, and it's really sad. Again, it's just really, really emotional. And Kevin, he still won't admit to Jill about the divorce. She just tell her the truth. You know what I mean? Like, kids can handle it. In this universe where all these people blinked out of existence, I think the least you can do for her is be honest with her about the divorce. And I think she'd understand, but I mean, I guess it's the writers, if the writers decided for her to understand. And the twins hilariously drop off Jesus, where they can't, he won't let his brother in the car. And I thought that was funny. I guess it's like, but, there's the baby Jesus, and Jill's standing there, and he knows. They're both standing there, both without acknowledging that he knows that she did it, and got these, the two guys bring it back because they're good kids too. Like, none of these kids seem to be really bad kids. They're just teenagers that live in a world where millions of people disappeared. And wow, that was really actually pretty positive of me. I usually diss teenagers. But Kevin's guys are waiting for the guilty remnant at this dance. And Kevin comes in with the baby Jesus for everyone to see, and he's trying to hey, this is what everybody wanted, right? We finally found Jesus. And nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. It was all just basically for nothing. But then we get the Kevin meets Nora scene. And the first thing I thought of when Kevin meets Nora, the "I don't want to wait" Dawson's Creek music started playing in my head. Because I'm a big dork, and I love Kevin and Nora, and especially Nora. But anyway, Nora's having locker memories about, this was her locker, the one right over there was her husband's, and took her a whole year to notice her. And she just blurts out, that she didn't know, but she just found out that her husband cheated on her. And it just, I don't, the connection there, or whatever, her situation, because he, everybody knows who she is, so he's kind of stumbling through this meeting of I know who you are, I'm really sorry what happened to you, how do you, she's a celebrity for the worst possible reason, and so he's trying to, backpedal a little bit, and he just blurts out, "I cheated on my wife." And, he's like, I don't know if there's a good answer, why did you do it? And he's like, I don't think there's a good answer to that question. And she's just like, I think I just heard it. And, it's honesty, our word against theirs. Why did I write that? But, it's a very different, it's a very real situation. Where sometimes you're just waiting for the chance. I think Kevin was waiting to say that he cheated on his wife, that he wasn't a good husband, that he's not a good father, all these things. And Nora's honesty just brings out his honesty. Two people that don't really know each other, and he's needed to get that out. And she sees that, and I like that, her looking at him as he walks away. And that's when they go ahead. Oh yeah, it's the guilty remnant, or now I know why I wrote our word against theirs. they're like staying right outside of the perimeter of the school. That way, supposedly the cops can't do nothing. But Kevin's basically like, well, fuck this. They're on school property. That's what I see. It's our word against theirs. So he hauls them all up and puts Patty in the back of the wagon, and, you know, her face and Kevin's face. Like, she gives him this look after he's like, where's the rest of them? Where's the rest of your group? Like, this isn't hardly anybody. And she gives him this look, and that look on his face of like, something bad's happening. I don't know what, I don't know where, but Patty's done something terrible. And it's just, I don't know, that kind of look of acknowledgement of like you know there's a bomb somewhere in a building and you're not going to be able to make it in time. Do you know what I'm saying? The bomb's already gone off, even if you haven't heard the explosion. Oh, that wasn't too bad. But the real plan is everywhere else. And this, to me, well, let's just show it. Because this is bad. Like, the guilty remnant, they cross a line here. They cross a major, major line here. And this is why, you know, like, it's hard to sympathize with these characters. The guilty remnant characters, anyway. So, take a look. Alright, so yeah, the guilty remnant go into all the homes of the people who had departures, and they replace them with mannequins and take their photos. And I know this is like miles, like the first thing I thought of was it's like Batman Returns in reverse. I don't know why, but it's like, you know, and spoilers for Batman Returns for all of you that haven't seen it, but Penguin, there's a big party going on, just like in this. And the Penguin shows up, kind of like Patty shows up, except Patty doesn't talk. The Penguin tells everybody his plan, which is, I'm going to go to all your homes while you're here at this party, and I'm going to take all your kids, like your firstborn sons and shit. And it's kind of like a reverse thing of that, where it's like they're not taking, they're replacing everybody that was taken already, and taking their photos. But we don't know that. And I mean, this is bad. This is hardcore bad. Like, really, I know they're trying to smack people in the face. I know they're trying to like wake people up that that it's just, everybody just won't let go. And Patty and her whole group this is just too far. This is just too far. And Lori, you know, after they go in and they do all this, and I mean, what they do to Nora, what this does to Nora. But Lori says she wants to walk back. Well, writes she wants to walk back. And she goes back for the lighter. We don't see her get it, but we see that even she still struggles with this, that she can't completely let go, at least of maybe her daughter. And Kevin gets the baby Jesus back to the manger, but Matt's already there with the replacement Jesus. And so on his way home, Kevin can't stop looking at this creepy doll, and he just chucks it out the window. So I guess you could say the show was tossing beliefs out the window. If you want. Because it was all for nothing. All this time. And so anyway, that's BJ and the AC. Again, like the whole thing with the AC, right? The Antichrist, that this guy, you know, like the naked guy earlier with Tom, is saying that I know what's in your stomach and all this, and we're supposed to believe that it's maybe the Antichrist, but again, it's not. No Antichrist shows up in the show, okay? It's I don't know. I think that they were going to maybe see where it went. I would love to hear the excuse of what happened with the Antichrist story and all of Holy Wayne's backstory, because I know I remember what happens to Wayne, but we never really get completion on some of this stuff. So anyway, that's BJ and the AC. If you liked this review, please hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Interview saying there won't be another Leftovers review probably. If I can, I'm going to, I've got a schedule going, but I've got a live stream with these reviews on Wednesday that I need to prepare for, and I've got Gino Reynolds coming from The Real Gino on YouTube on Saturday, and we're going to be doing a lot of content that I have to prepare for, and so I don't think I'm going to have time to be making any videos for the next few days, just to make sure that I'm fully ready for what's coming for this weekend. But if I find the time and I can get back to it, the Leftovers are not going away, you know, at all. Any of my content, none of it's going away. I'm not taking a mental break or anything like that. It's just there's a lot going on this week, and I want to make sure that I'm 100% prepared to give like the best to the channel, to other people's channels that I'm helping out, and everything. And just another way for this channel to grow. And again, I want to thank everybody for all the support and all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Review saying have a great night, and we will see you on the next video.